If you are a Blazor developer, you know that annoying flash when your app loads data during pre-rendering, right? One fix was to simply disable pre-rendering, but well, this hurts performance and search engine optimization. Well, with .NET 10, we finally get a real solution, the new persistent state attribute. So let's dive in and see how it works. All right, as you can see here, I got the new Visual Studio 2026. It's called Insiders. I don't know why, but it is. And this is what you also have to download and install if you want to try out the new persistent state attribute together with, of course, the pre-release of .NET 10, or now it is currently the release candidate 1. Let's just create a new project. And of course, this shall be a Blazor web application. We hit next. And let's call this persistent state.net 10. Nice. We hit next. And I want to show you the server variant version, let's call it that way. So no authentication. .NET 10 it is, of course, the preview version. Interactive render mode. So server, not yet Blazor WebAssembly, just server and per page component. So let's hit create. Let me first show you what I actually mean with that annoying flash. If you don't remember, if you are a Blazor developer, then I think you know what I mean. But here, so far, you see our components and also the pages. You see the new look of Visual Studio 2026. And now here, the weather page, right? Microsoft used or is still using this page to demonstrate stream rendering. But we can change that, of course. And instead of pre-rendering, we say this is now the render mode interactive server. And then let's just run this and see what happens. By the way, if any of my videos have ever helped you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. It really helps me keep making these tutorials, which in turn might help you becoming a better .NET developer. So please hit subscribe. It is free. Thank you so much. And if you want to get the source code of this tutorial together with a comprehensive written tutorial, I've got a new Substack newsletter. Link, as always, in the video description below. So here we are, you know this, and we go to the weather page now and pay attention. You saw it, right? The table is loading. Then we see a loading message and then again the new table, and please pay attention to the values. For instance, here the temperature is 40. Now when I just reload the page, we will see something different, then loading again, and then again something different. So let's just reload this thing. 27, loading, 49. I hope you saw that. Well, you see the flash, it's annoying, it's terrible. And what do you want to do here? Well, of course, there are different solutions, and the quickest one was really pre-rendering. Let's have a look at how this looks now. First, let me open the developer console. There it is. And when I now reload the page, you see this thing here, weather, and then also the response with the preview. And you see again, temperature here was 37 Fahrenheit, 3 Celsius, but this here is different, right? So this is what is actually happening under the hood. On the server, the whole logic is run, right? So it is creating random weather data. We see these values for a really short time, and then it is doing the same thing on the hydration part of this page, right? So this means we got pre-rendering, get the finished HTML back. We see this for a fraction of a second, and then the logic is running again. This is true for interactive server and interactive WebAssembly render mode, and with that also with the auto render mode, but this is again another chapter. And again, the solution until then, well, there were a couple of solutions, but one easy solution was if search engine optimization and maybe the performance, it's not that important for you with your application, whatever you're building, then what you would do is you would say, all right, I want a new interactive server render mode instance with pre-rendering set to false, something like that, right? So let's just restart the application now again. There we are. Let's reload this thing. You see the loading text, right? And then the data. Again, loading data. And what about the page? There it was, right? The result. This is how the page then looks like, right? This is not very nice because for, again, SEO, for instance, not great. And what you also see is that actually we see loading and then the data, although before it was kind of faster, right? It was just random data, but actually we already got some data that we could have shown the user and that would be it. So there are, of course, debates how to fix this, but now I think we got the final solution. And again, this is the persistent state attribute. Let me just show you that thing. So very important, of course, again, Visual Studio 2026, the preview edition, and .NET 10, in my case, release candidate 1. So what I can do now is I can actually still use pre-rendering here. So render mode interactive server. And the only thing, maybe the only thing that I have to add is persistent state. It's green, this means this exists, but it is already telling me not valid on this declaration type. It is only valid on property indexer declarations. What the heck does this mean? Well, we have to make a property out of that. So maybe, no, it's still not working. It seems a little bug on my machine. I'm pressing Control R. No, it works. Awesome. So I want to rename this and make a member or a property out of that. So we add the getter and the setter. And let's also make this public like that. And here, change that as well. So now this should actually work. So remember, I just set the persistent state, made a property out of that. Let's see how this looks now. We restart the application again. There it is. Let's reload. Still that flash, right? Yep, and you see a change here, but we don't see the loading text actually. We see 19, then 15, and again we see minus 16, 29. So what's going on there? Well, we have to add one more change, and this is we have to check if the data is actually null, right? So here now, what we can do, if forecasts is null actually, so when this thing is null, then create new forecast. And I will talk about what persistent state is actually doing in a sec, but let me just show you how this looks now. All right, let's remove everything, reloading, and we see 46. And let's do this one more time, reloading, 41. Isn't that nice? So now here we go to the weather and we also see 41. So this is exactly that what we want, right? We recalculated, let's say we got the data once and that's it. No loading twice. And this is beautiful, let me tell you. But now pay attention. What if I don't reload the page, but I go to the counter page and then I go back to the weather page? I got the flash again. What the, right? So again, this is not the real solution, but there is a way. So let me tell you, here now you can go back and actually persistent state takes some attributes. For instance, you can say allow, you see there already, allow updates means gets or sets a value whether the component wants to receive updates to the parameter beyond the initial value provided during initialization. If you don't know what this means, well, you and me, we are the same, but in my words, it simply means that enhanced navigation now also works when I set this to true. What is enhanced navigation? Well, we want that spa-like feel, right? Meaning we don't reload the page like old MVC days. What we want is we just change the content of the DOM, the document object model of your web application. So not only when reloading the page, we persist the states, also when we navigate inside our application, right? So now let's have another look. There it is. We reload the page. We see it just 36. I go back to counter and then go back to weather. No flash, just the 6. Let me try this one more time. I go to counter and then I go back to weather. 54. I have no preview here. This is nice. Let's try it one more time. Okay, no preview, but this is something else. There it is. 27 and 80. Okay, now it worked also with the preview. This is great. Chrome, thank you very much for that. So you see, this is how you would handle that. But there's one more case why they implemented this, and this is losing the WebSocket connection, the circuit to the current application with Blazor server. Now, how can we test that? You can just type into the console Blazor pause circuit. Run this, and then this crazy pop-up appears. And what you can do then is resume, and you still have the data available here. Isn't that nice? 47 now when reloading. Let's try this one more time. Blazor pause circuit. Jesus, hard to say. Resume 47. We still have the data here. But you can also change the behavior of that as well. So when we go back to Visual Studio, then we have this other parameter actually. So that would be restore behavior. Gets or sets the behavior to use when restoring data. What do we get here? Restore behavior. We got default. That's what we currently have. We have skip initial value. This means avoid restoring the initial value when the host starts up. And skip last snapshot. Avoid restoring the last value captured when the current host was shut down. What does this mean? Let's just try this. We restart the application. Come back here. We reload. And you see what happened here. Now we have the flash again, right? So this means you really have to think about what configuration, let's say, you actually want to have with the new persistent state attribute. So here now we have a flash on reloading. We go to the counter, we go to the weather, no flash. But what about now Blazor pause circuit? Come here, we resume, nothing. What now with skip last snapshot? Try this one more time. All right. Now we don't see a flash, right, when reloading. All right, we don't see one here as well. But now, pause circuit, hit resume, and it is reloading the data. Saw that? So this is important. This means that when, I don't know, your user lost Wi-Fi, whatever it is, right, then comes back, then we have the same, we can get the same data back when the user comes back, or you decide to reload the data actually. But this is everything just for the Blazor server or render mode, right? Blazor WebAssembly is another story. Now, what's actually going on there? Well, in short, persistent state just means that, as I told you in the beginning, we already do the whole logic here and actually already have the data, which you can also call the state, right? So this is the state that we already have on the server. And before, with .NET 9 and before, we had this state available, but we couldn't move it to the hydration part of the application, right? So we got the pre-render part and the hydration part, the one that you see after the flash. And this is the state that would then be reloaded, or you get a new state then, right? But with persistent state, well, you can persist the state, meaning you can persist the data, and then just give the data that you already loaded or created on server side during pre-rendering, just move that to the next hydration, to the hydration, to the next part. I always got on my tongue to the client, but it's not really the client. This is then WebAssembly stuff, but again, this is something for another video. And this is actually a really big deal because you can now enable pre-rendering. I think you get the idea by now, and also have a better user experience. So this is really great. And again, for Blazor WebAssembly, this is actually a bigger deal, a really big deal, because, well, let me tell you what this means in my next video. All right. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Take care.